Welcome back to Crash Test Hockey, where I talk all things NHL. Hey, if you're new to this channel, please smash that subscribe button. I would sincerely appreciate it. Now let's quickly go over some game reviews and previews, starting with the Winnipeg Jets beating the Detroit Red Wings 3-0 last night. Now, Hellbuck got the shutout. Nedeljkovic was in net for the Red Wings. He still came out with a 9-3 save. 3.5 save percentage, by the way. Kopp got a couple of goals for the Jets. Kyle Connor got a goal and assist as well. Next, let's talk about the Bruins and Rask's great return. He got a win against the Flyers. Hart was in net for Philadelphia. And Pasternak helped things along by scoring all the goals for Boston. He had a hat trick. Cam Atkinson had a goal and assist for the Flyers. Farabee got the other goal. Keith Yandle got a couple assists in this game, including one on the power play. So fantasy hockey players, keep note there. Next, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning beating the Canucks 4-2. This was blacked out. I didn't get to see this game at all. Vasilevsky got the win. Demko the loss with an .850 save percentage in that one. Now, Stamkos, Cirelli, Kachuk, and Point all scored for the Lightning. Point had an empty netter. For the Vancouver Canucks, it was Highmore. And Tyler Mott scored a gorgeous goal. If you're going to see any video from this game, go watch that one. Moving along here, the Blue Jackets spanked the Hurricanes 6-0. Now, I was going to give the Leafs crap for losing to Arizona the other day, 2-1. You can argue they got goalied. I mean, the guy had like 45 saves or something. But still, if the Leafs are going to be a contender, they got to win those games. But it's nice to be seeing a lot of big upsets today, especially in the hockey world, starting with this one. Now, Frederik Andersen was in net for the Hurricanes, so it's not like it was their backup or anything. Merzlikins got the shutout for the Blue Jackets. Chinakhov, the Blue Jackets rookie who they drafted, I believe the year before last, had a couple of goals. He's played around 20 or so games so far, so we'll see how he progresses. Maybe put him on your watch list. Fantasy players. Roslovic got a goal and assist. Another fantasy player you might want to keep an eye on. Did Boone Jenner get an assist in this one? Yeah, he did. Another consistent point producer in fantasy hockey there. Patrick Laine scored. He got his 5th of the year only. And yeah, enough said about that. Let's move on to the Devils-Islanders game. The Islanders squeak out to win this one in the last 5 minutes of the match. They win 3-2. Now, Sorokin was in net for New York. Gillies for Jersey. They're having a goaltending supply issue at the moment. He came out of that one with an .880 save percentage, .938 for Sorokin. All-star Adam Pelech, if you didn't know already, he's going to that game. He scored a goal tonight. Josh Bailey, fantasy players. He had a goal and an assist today. He's had consistency issues. Of course, Zach Parise got a couple assists in this one, and Sherganovich and Bastian had the goals, the latter being on the power play for the Devils. Barzal had the game winner late in the third period. Next up, let's look at the St. Louis Blues beating the Kraken about 2-1 on a thin margin there. Now, Drieger was in net for Seattle. Husso for the Blues. He came out with a .969 save percentage in this one. Drieger was a .926, not too shabby himself. Robert Thomas, another fantasy player who's under 50% owned usually. He had a goal in this game, as well as Buchnevich. And then the goal for Seattle came from Wenberg, assisted by Donato, and Soucy. Soucy has been contributing quite consistently over the past 6 or 7 games. So fantasy hockey players, take note there. Next, another big upset today. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Predators 4-1. And what's even more surprising about this is that Buffalo's got no goalies. They're all hurt. So they had to tap their AHL hard. And Aaron Dell was amazing in this game. He came out with a .967 save percentage, stopping 29 of 30 shots. Almost got the shutout. Now, Saros played net for the Predators, came out with an .850 in this one. Jeff Skinner had 2 goals for the Sabres. Matt Duchene had the lone goal for Nashville on the power play, assisted by Johansson and José. Jankowski also scored for Buffalo, as well as Hinestroza. Kyle Okposo also had a couple assists. So keep an eye on him, fantasy players. He can get hot from time to time if you're looking for depth guys. Next game, we've got the Montreal Canadiens. Lost this one to the Chicago Blackhawks in overtime. They just cannot win a game here. Fleury got the win for Chicago. Montalban took the loss for the Canadiens. He came out with a .903 save percentage, .931 for Fleury. Now the goals came from Kubalik, Kane, and Kurashev for Chicago. Petrie and Hoffman scored for the Montreal Canadiens. And yeah, let's move on. Next, Romanov had a fantastic hit in this game, which really turned up the juice for the rest of the match. If you're going to see the one video from that one, go check that out, maybe on Twitter or wherever. Next, we have another upset. The Ottawa Senators beat the Calgary Flames 4-1. Now, Calgary's been reeling lately. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10 games, lost 4 in a row. Both Alberta teams are now out of the playoffs because in the Pacific, it's Vegas, Anaheim, Los Angeles, and San Jose in the top 4 right now. So I'm sure they'll turn things around eventually. I would expect them to. Markstrom took the loss with an .882 save percentage in this one. Matt Murray, nice little comeback after being waived earlier in the year. Had a .964 save percentage in this game. Nick Paul had a couple of goals for Ottawa. Connor Brown had 2 points, including a goal and a beautiful breakaway goal. Go check out that one. That was gorgeous. And Batherson scored the other goal for Ottawa, and Tkachuk got the lone one for Calgary, assisted by Tanev and Gaudreau. Then we have the Penguins. Another upset here. Lost to the Los Angeles Kings 6-2. The Kings are such an odd team this year. Currently, they're in the playoff picture, but you know they've got 19 wins, 13 losses. They're 7-3-0 in their last 10 games, won 3 in a row now, and they're so bizarre because they'll lose a bunch of games. You know, you think they should win, and then they'll just come out of the blue and beat a good team. So you can never rest on your heels against LA because they've got good goaltending as well, especially with Quick, who was in net for this one. And they can take it to you. Now, I want to say, I think Pittsburgh might have been on a back-to-back. No, I'm lying. They weren't, which makes the loss even worse for them. So Jarry took the loss for Pittsburgh with an .867 save percentage, but saved 39 of 45 shots still, which is, kind of impressive. Quick only had 29 shots to deal with. He stopped 27 of those and ended up with a .931 save percentage in this one. Kopitar led the Kings with 2 goals and an assist. Mikey Anderson and rookie Sean Durzi got the other goals for Los Angeles. Letang and Zahora scored for Pittsburgh. Brown also had a goal, as well as Arvidsson, who's a really good pickup for you for fantasy hockey. I believe he's less than 50% owned still. He's on that second line top power play unit, and he's been putting out quite consistently lately. So yeah, keep an eye on him, as well as Jersey, the defenseman for LA, who should be available as well if you want to grab him. Now, the last game of the day last night was the Rangers versus the San Jose Sharks. New York won 3-0. And both goalies were actually good in this one. Shesterkin obviously got the shutout. Aiden Hill, who hasn't been really that impressive at all this season, came out with a .933 save percentage, stopped 28 of 30 shots. The goals came from 2 of which from Kreider, who's just killing it right now. That's his 23rd goal of the season. I think that ties him for maybe 3rd place right now in the league in that department. And Schneider, if you don't recognize that name, it's because this was his first NHL game, first goal. He's a right shot defenseman whom I wish the Toronto Maple Leafs picked up. I want to say in the year before last draft. They took Amirov instead. That's still to be determined who won that draft in any case. But yeah, let's move on to tomorrow's games, shall we? Now, we've only have, it's Friday, we only have 3 games to look at because one of them is postponed. That Golden Knights and Oilers one isn't going to happen. Now, let's start off with the Stars versus the Panthers. We have confirmations on both goalie starters. That's Ottinger and Bobrovsky for tonight. Now, Dallas is 5-5-0 in their last 10 games, and they won their last one. Whereas Florida, do they still? No, they're second in the Atlantic right now, 6-3-1 in the last 10, and have won their last 2 games. Next, we have the Anaheim Ducks versus the Minnesota Wild. Now, Stallras is confirmed starting for Anaheim. Gibson did come off the COVID list, and it was thought that he might get this game, but that's not happening. And Kakkonen will start in net for Minnesota. Now, Minnesota in the Central sits in 4th right now. Kaprizov is still injured, as well as Spurgeon and Brodin. Minnesota's 5-4-1 in their last 10, but won their last 2 games, so hopefully they're coming out of their funk there. Anaheim sits second in the Pacific right now, 4-4-2 in their last 10 games, and lost their last one. The last game of the day is between, which should be a massacre, between the Colorado Avalanche and the Arizona Coyotes. Colorado sits 3rd in the Central right now, albeit they've got 4 games in hand on St. Louis, who is ahead of them, and 5 games in hand on Nashville, who's sitting in 1st in the Central at the moment. And Colorado is 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. They lost their last one in overtime to Toronto, I want to say, after coming back when they were losing 4-1 to lose in overtime. Francouz will be starting in net. He's confirmed for Colorado. And the Coyotes, Vejmelka is projected to start. Now, I think he's the goalie who stopped 45 shots when they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1 in that game. So at least it should be interesting if they can keep it a very close game. We'll see. And there you have it. That's all for today. I'm going to put out some more videos, though, talking about trade rumors and such. If you'd like to support the channel or me through a crowdfunding site, you can do that through Buy Me a Coffee. You'll find a link to that in my description box or just on my channel on the profile page. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out. And hey, be kind to each other out there in this crazy multiverse Omicron COVID world we're living in right now, and I'll see you soon.